G'day there guys, sometimes you'll never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. It's your host Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now if you love today's episode, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and enjoy today's content. Thank you. Posted by user Throwaway19987. Titled, Am I the a-hole for not apologizing to my roommate's girlfriend because she saw me naked? Basically this. My roommate, 21 male, and I, 20 male, aren't close friends, but we live together because it's convenient for the both of us. He has a new girlfriend, and lately she's been staying over a lot. Our apartment has 2 bathrooms. I'm saying this because it's relevant later. One is in my room, and the other one is in the hall. I use the one in my bedroom, and he uses the other one. Yesterday, I was just out of the shower and walking around in my room naked, trying to find clothes and other stuff because I'm messy, when his girlfriend barges in my room without even knocking. I do generally lock my room, but it's never been a big deal because my roommates never come in without knocking. Also, I did not know this girl was in the house. I'd have made sure to lock the door then. Obviously, she went like WTF and ran out. Then she was very cross with me, and seemed to think that I owed her an apology because she saw me naked, and it made her very uncomfortable. I was like, no, you walked into my room without knocking. What you see or didn't see after that is not my fault at all. Her explanation was that the other bathroom was busy, and she just wanted to use the one in my bedroom. She's involved roommate into this, and he too thinks that I should apologize because I shouldn't have been walking around in my room naked without locking the door first. I've refused to apologize. Am I the a-hole? Yeah, I don't think you're the a-hole for this one. I feel like she should have known better that there was a possibility and she could have knocked before entering the room, but she chose to do none of that, and so is now facing the consequences of not making sure. I don't think you have a duty to do due diligence in this situation to make sure she's in the house or not in the house every time you want to go have a shower or be naked in your own room. You're entitled to your own privacy, and she infringed on that, and that's where we are now. You're not the a-hole in this situation, they're just trying to spin it to make her not feel too bad. And we're not pandering to her feelings in 2020, we're leaving those behind in 2019. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You were in your own space and she barged in. She should apologize to you. Yeah, lol. It was obviously accidental, of course, but I've known people to be sued for sexual harassment over similar incidents. Edit. Seems like a lot of people are confused. I've heard of cases of the person who was seen naked sue the person who just saw them naked. Was just trying to illustrate how ridiculous OP's roommate's girlfriend is in demanding an apology, since OP could literally sue her. I truly don't understand how some people can think they are owed an apology after they do something they shouldn't have done. I deserve an apology because I decided to invade your privacy without your consent and didn't like what I saw. Like what? Had this been the other way around, I'm sure she'd be fuming. Darvo isn't just a tactic narcissists use. When in doubt, projecting blame is a lot of manipulative people's go-to get-out-of-jail-free card. And kids, that's my theory on why Darvo exists. They try one tactic until it no longer works, so they move on to the next one. And only when you don't let a child get away with any of them do they actually learn to take responsibility for their actions. Not the a-hole. She owes you an apology for barging into your room without knocking. You're the one who was exposed against your will. I know, right? Her seeing me made me uncomfortable too. I told them this, and somehow, using some twisted logic, they arrived at the conclusion that her discomfort is greater than my discomfort. Her discomfort came from her choice. Your discomfort came from her choice. You have absolutely nothing to apologize for. This is all about her making the wrong choice and wanting to make you somehow responsible. She's a tool, you're not the a-hole. This is the kind of a-holery judgment that this sub is intended for, in my opinion. Clear explanation of why someone is the a-hole. So much better than just snarky advice like, ugh, move out and get a lawyer. Why are you even living with them? Which is fudging worthless. Posted by user throw AITA bunch of numbers. Titled, Am I the a-hole for pouring water over my husband's sleeve after he said it didn't matter that our toddler had an all-wet sleeve? Basically the title. My husband washed our toddler's hands, and after that, the toddler's whole sleeve was wet up to the shoulder. After 5 minutes, I noticed and pointed that out, saying that he can't go around like this, and his sweater had to be changed. My husband responded that it didn't matter his sleeve was all wet. It's winter here and cold in the house. This wasn't the first time exactly that this happened. I always end up changing the sweaters. I filled a water glass in the kitchen and poured it over my husband's sleeve and said it didn't matter. I apologized 5 minutes later, but husband is still furious. Am I the a-hole? I suppose this one could be everyone sucks here in some form or another, and I would understand people giving it that judgment. You don't particularly just go pouring water on your significant other or anyone to prove a point. But if their relationship is comfortable enough that she trusts him not to lash out or get violent or not understand the point she's trying to illustrate, I would give her a thumbs up for that one. I'd say it's not the a-hole, but there's relationships where it could be everyone sucks here because not everyone vibes with that. I'm gonna go with not the a-hole for this situation though. Edit. This blew up much more than I would have imagined. Thank you all kind strangers for awards, kind and not so kind words. I really appreciated all of your feedback. There were many different opinions on this, and I guess the truth lies in the middle. I myself decided to go with everyone sucks here. I talked it out with my husband. He really didn't change his sweater because he thinks it's not a big deal being wet. It dries. I know him, that is really true. We agreed, a little reluctantly, upon that we must assume the toddler thinks it's a big deal until he can say otherwise. I think what is going to happen is that my husband is going to be really careful washing toddler's hands from now on to prevent him from getting wet in the first place. Enter the Bugbear says, Yeah, I definitely think you screwed up here. You absolutely should not have apologized. Not the a-hole. Right? I mean, if the dad has a problem with it, then he should clearly see the problem with the toddler having a wet sleeve. If I were dad in this scenario, I might be mad in the moment, but then would feel sheepish as what had just happened dawned on me. Dad is dead set on doubling down, so yeah, total a-hole. If I was dad in this scenario, I would have laughed my effing ass off and appreciated my good fortune to have married such a brilliant and amazing woman. OP is not the a-hole, she's a genius. Not the a-hole. I don't get why some people think this is such a big deal. It's just water on a shirt. It's not like they ruined the shirt or caused the husband any harm. I think it was a pretty good way of getting the point across. I mean, the husband was going to leave the toddler like that, so why should it bother him? It's kinda childish though. Yes, it's just water, and yes, they were home. I would tread carefully with this approach. Instead, I would have probably started with something more like, how comfortable would you be if an entire sleeve of yours was all wet? Or, okay, if it's no big deal, you wouldn't mind if I took the glass and got your sleeve all wet, would you? It is absolutely a childish approach. But frankly, the husband was being childish and selfish as well. And since OP used a non-permanent way of trying to teach him some empathy, I feel like the a-hole crown is still the husband's. Sure, she could have done better, but it sounds like she's tried other approaches in the past, and they haven't worked. Yep, sounds like tough love. A little off topic here. I work in a doctor's office. Sometimes patients come in with cold hands, and it makes it difficult to get a pulse oximeter reading. It is important to get a valid, accurate reading with a pulse oximeter to determine if someone qualifies for oxygen. If their hands are cold, I will walk them over to a faucet and instruct them to run their hands under the hot water to warm them up. Most of the times, they have long sleeves on and are elderly. I will make sure they roll the sleeves up, or I will do it for them if they're unable to. I would hate to be stuck in a doctor's office for a few hours with wet sleeves. Posted by user Retail Deeply. Titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my sister get gifts during Black Friday? I, 24 female, work retail. My sister, 29 female, has always looked down on me for it. She has said everything from, I threw my life away by not going to college to, I wouldn't know what hard work is because I only work retail. One time, she even interrupted a conversation I was having with her mother-in-law, who was inquiring about the treatment of teen employees where I work, because her nephew was looking for a job. Just to say I shouldn't be offering help to anyone when I have a kiddie job. I mostly just don't talk to her now and try to pretend she's not speaking. So this year has been rough on everyone, and she lost her job. Her husband's company issued company-wide pay cuts, so money has been tight for them. I was working Black Friday this year, like always, and 2 weeks ago, my sister asked me if I could pick her up some bargains since I would have access to them. I said no. I told her she doesn't get to look down on me and insult me and how hard I work, and then try to benefit off it. She said she was sorry and she wouldn't do it again, but it didn't feel genuine to me. So I stuck to my no. She's saying I'm an a-hole now because I wouldn't help her, and that I should have thought of her kids and the extended family. My nephews will have gifts. I got them stuff from me. But I don't feel like I owe my sister after everything. Is that wrong of me? Am I the a-hole? No, I feel like this is one of your only bargaining chips you have over her, where she's directly needing something from you, and you have power over her in this relationship here. If you agree to do these deals for her, then she will continue to have power over you, and she doesn't have a duty to be nice to you, or lay off the gas, or lay off her, bitching about you. It seems like this is one of the only times she's ever going to be nice to you when it comes to your job. Doesn't seem like she's really being nice to you either, she's just asking you for the discounts. I wouldn't touch her with a 6-foot or a 10-foot pole, because she doesn't deserve any of the benefits that come with you working in retail. Not after the horrendous treatment that you've gone through, as has been said many times in this post. Screw her and the horse she rode in on, not the a-hole. 100% not the a-hole. You have hit the nail on the head with what you said to her. Maybe she should try going back to college or working a bit harder. The hard work thing is absolute nonsense. There is nearly zero correlation between how hard you work and how much money you make. The hardest I ever worked was waiting tables in college and doing light manual labor in high school. I have not worked nearly that hard at my office jobs, yet they all pay considerably more. In many of those jobs, my boss's boss did F all and still made high 6-figure incomes. One of the most lucrative jobs in the world is child of already wealthy person, which does not require lots of hard work. The myth that more money equals harder work is something well-off people tell ourselves to make us feel less guilty about having more than others, largely by luck and circumstance. The hardest working people I know are also the poorest. The guy I know who complains most about poor people not working hard enough also inherited several multi-million-dollar properties from his father that he manages. I'm sure he works hard, but that's not why he's rich. This is just a really insane and toxic idea that a lot of people cling to. Not the a-hole. No respect for the retail worker, no retail perks. Really don't know how she thought that would go, especially since it's Black Friday and you're working. So, with what time are you supposed to do her errands? I worked clothing retail for over a year. The employee discounts at my company were stackable with a regular coupon, so I'd get pretty good deals. However, there is no way in hell I'd have enough time on Black Friday to shop. The line is outrageous, the customers tear up the entire sales floor, and after working 8 hours, I'd be too tired to spend another 2 hours shopping. So yeah, not the a-hole all the way. Working retails on the holidays is 100% as bad as everyone says it is, lol. Yup, and if sister lost her job, she has time to go to the mall or whatever and get her own deals. OP will be working if sister wants to stop by, but she better make it a quick high because working on Black Friday. Not the a-hole. Now is the time of year many retailers are hiring seasonal employees. I will admit, I don't know if this is true this year with the current situation. If she wanted discounts that badly, maybe she should have lowered herself and gotten a retail job, especially if she doesn't have a job and money is that tight. Posted by user Family Affairs 467, titled, Am I the a-hole for never telling my parents I had a son that was given up for adoption? My parents were very cold, strict, and controlling people almost my entire life. Very religious and always cared about how the rest of their church viewed them, so they were even harder on me to always be perfect. I was out of the house at 18. I didn't have any money since my parents never let me work, so I lived with friends. My girlfriend and I were only 19 when she got pregnant. Neither of us with a place of our own, no money. We weren't at all prepared to be parents. Despite trying to break away from our parents' strict religious views, we still felt guilt about considering abortion. I'm completely pro-choice, by the way, but personally, we couldn't bring ourselves to do it, and looked into adoption instead. We went through the process, and our son was adopted by a nice enough couple. It hurt for a long time, but we eventually moved on with our lives. The thing is, I never told my parents anything. I feared what they would do if they found out. Yes, at that age I still feared them. Mostly afraid they would try to adopt him instead and raise him in the same dysfunctional household, which I couldn't allow knowing how they'd be. We were no contact at all when this was happening and didn't speak until after 15 years. My dad had a heart attack and was in hospital. I reached out and helped while he was in recovery. They both wanted to mend our relationship since this was sort of a wake-up call, and while it's not perfect and they're in some ways still stuck in a certain mindset, I know they've tried to be more open and loving. Now, when my bio son was adopted, we agreed he was free to contact us when he was older, and that's exactly what he did when he was 19. Ben has been in my life for almost 2 years, and it's been such a blessing getting to know the wonderful man he grew up to be. Ben has expressed interest in meeting my parents, as he's already met my ex's parents. He knows the whole story about them, and that they don't know about him at all. He's fine if I don't want them to know, but I decided it was time anyways, and decided to speak with them. Boy, was it a major disaster. My mum was so upset, she was almost in tears, and my dad wouldn't even look at me. They acted like I was a monster for never telling them, and they had a grandchild out in the world, and also angry at the fact that I gave him away when they would have given him a home. They were far too upset, so I left their house. Despite having confirmation that they would have tried to adopt him, and it was the right choice not to let that happen, I've gotten a lot of talks from my mum's family agreeing adoption was the best choice, but that my parents still had the right to know of their own grandchild's existence. For that, they believe I was in fact wrong for keeping them from knowing this. I understand lies, especially of this magnitude, would blow up eventually anyways. But I'm questioning whether my choice was so bad that I'm the a-hole for it. Honestly, if the parents weren't so bad that OP left at 18, cut all contact with them, and would rather have lived a life with no money and couch surfing, I really don't blame them for not telling the parents that this grandchild existed out in the world. They wanted to go no contact, and if they told the parents that the child existed but they've already adopted it out, the parents would not have allowed them to maintain no contact. The parents would have been tooth and nail fighting to get that child into their own possession, I guess. If you were to have told them, it would have been just negative all round. They would not have taken it lightly, and they're just pissed that they have no power over this anymore. Ben had such a good life without their influence in it, and I hope he continues to have a good life without them in it, because they've shown just how bad they are. Screw them, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You went no contact for years for a reason. They probably wouldn't have raised that boy any better than they raised you. Letting them know they had a grandchild would have probably caused a crap show. You kept that out and let your son have semi-normal and healthy lives. Not the a-hole. Exactly this. You did the right thing for your son. It was the best option for him. You gave him a life out of that toxic environment. You have confirmation now that they would have tried to adopt him themselves. That should be enough to reassure yourself that you did right for your child. I agree, not the a-hole OP. Your family seems to not understand that they are the reason you didn't tell them, and since they never really changed, you still wouldn't have told them if your bio son had not expressed interest. And I would express that to any of your other family members saying this crap when they did not help you when you were no contact either. None of them had that choice, your son did for his own safety. There's a strong argument to be made that OP's parents have nobody to blame but themselves here and will still not take ownership of their actions. OP made a loving choice to give his son a chance to grow up away from his toxic home life that he had. His parents are now confirming in every way possible that he did the right thing. They would have made their grandson's life very hard from the sounds of things. Sometimes people go no contact with toxic parents and hopefully peek their head in later to see if anything has changed. And here, nothing has. This sadly seems to be often the case with personality disorders, talking about the grandparents, that they can behave for a short time but return to their old habits quickly. To add, if OP's parents had raised Ben, they'd have likely lashed out at every mistake the kid made and find some way to blame Ben for the heart attack. The only reason OP broke no contact. You're right in that they don't seem to have changed, they're just trying to wind OP back in so they can have someone else to blame their misfortune and poor choices on. Alright, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it. As always, I want to do a huge shout out to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. You should be up on the screen now. I love you all, and I think every single one of you are amazing for supporting the channel in the way that you do. Again, thank you so much for supporting me. And again, if you did enjoy today's video, please do tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below. All of your hot takes, opinions, whatever you think, really, whatever's going on in your life right now, I'd love to hear down in the comments below. Before I leave, I'd also like to announce that I'm going to start doing meme content again on the second channel. I know it's been a while, so click on the Markee head on the screen without the Australian flag behind him if you want to go see some memes. And as always, guys, have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.